They called her Zalari 6, a designation etched into the neural lattice of every sentient registry aboard the drifting space vessel Nimvra. Her species, the Lurelians, were once among the most enigmatic in the outer belt, graceful bioluminescent beings born of gas and ether, molded in the wild fusion winds of planetary storms. And now Zalari was the last one. The war had come suddenly. One human misunderstanding, one Lurelian defensive maneuver misinterpreted, and the alliance fell apart. In under 6 galactic cycles, the human fleet swept through the ethereal colonies, incinerating anything remotely alive. The Lurelians, unable to comprehend such raw aggression, had no true defense. Zalari had run. She had hidden inside nebulae, behind cometary debris, anywhere the human sensors might miss her faint energy signature. But her vessel, more organic than machine, was no match for the cold, razor-edged pursuit crafts of Earth's stellar command. She was caught like a fish in the void. And now she sat in the sterile interrogation cell of an Earth outpost, Sector 19, somewhere beyond the edge of Saturn's reach. The room pulsed with artificial light. She had never seen anything so dead. Everything was plastic, steel, digital. There was no resonance, no vibration, no life. The door hissed open. A man stepped in. Human. Tall, rigid posture, wearing a black uniform that shimmered with technological threads. His hair was short, cropped with military precision, and his face unreadable. Only his eyes flickered with something. Something she could not yet translate. Zalari 6, he said, voice neutral. I'm Lieutenant Aaron Voss. She tensed, expecting him to lift a weapon, to trigger an invasive scan, or worse, initiate the known dissection protocols that had leaked into the Lurelian consciousness. She knew what happened to captured aliens. It was standard military policy. Analyze, dissect, debrief. If they could not understand, they dismantled. But he didn't approach her with hostility. Instead, he pulled out a chair, metal scraping on the floor, and sat across from her. We intercepted your distress signal. You sent a frequency only medics would use, he said, eyes narrowing. Why? Her voice was a harmonic tremble, low and layered like singing wind. Because I was injured. And because I hoped. Not all of you were monsters. He blinked. Something shifted in his expression, barely. You know we've lost hundreds to your kind's telepathic interference. We never meant harm. Our thoughts leak. We never built barriers. We thought you could understand beauty, harmony. But you brought fire. Aaron looked away for a moment, jaw clenching. I didn't start the war. No. But you carry its echo, she whispered. Silence fell. A silence that hummed not with threat but tension. Heavy. Real. Then Aaron leaned forward, forearms on the cold metal of the table. You're not a prisoner. She tilted her head, bioluminescence dimming. That is a lie. No, he said. It's politics. Command wants you transferred to Lunar Research Base. Section Theta. He shuddered. Even she knew what that meant. Vivisection. Neural mapping. Brain liquefaction. But I've been reviewing your case. The patterns in your signal, the pulses, it mimic human musical structures. Intentional. Yes. Music is universal. And peace? He asked, his voice quieter. She looked at him then, truly looked. He wasn't like the others she'd scanned. Most humans vibrated in chaos, aggression, doubt, fear. But he was quieter inside, like a forest before rain. I came to offer truce, she said. Too late. Aaron stood. Maybe not. He left without another word. The next cycles blurred. She was moved from the cell to a containment room. More light, less concrete. Still no sky, but at least the walls no longer pulsed with suppressive frequencies. She sang to herself sometimes, low, fragmented tones of her people's storm ballads. Soothed her. Then one cycle later Aaron returned. He wasn't alone. An older man, Commander Kersey, stood beside him, a sharp-featured officer with eyes like flint. "This is the Lurelian," the commander said, folding his arms. "Looks harmless. But we've seen what they can do." Aaron's voice was calm. "Sir, with respect, Zalari's signals show no aggressive patterning. No neural spikes consistent with infiltration attempts." The commander snorted. "That's what you think. Psi weapons don't leave physical traces." Zalari didn't speak. There was no point. The two men debated like she wasn't even there. Eventually, Kersey turned to her. "You will be transferred within 48 hours. Sector Theta is prepared." Aaron's jaw twitched. He didn't argue. Not then. But when the door closed behind the commander, he stayed. Zalari looked at him, her voice small. "You said I wasn't a prisoner." He stepped closer. "I'm going to get you out." Her body stiffened. "That is dangerous." "For you." He nodded. "Why?" she asked. He hesitated. Then, "Because I see a future where we don't burn everything we fear." He stared. "And because," he added more quietly, "I believe you're telling the truth." The escape was both simple and impossible. Aaron had clearance. He waited until third shift, when command cycles rotated and surveillance was weakest. He wore a transport suit, and he brought a second one, modified to conceal her unusual form. It took her nearly an hour to compress herself into the suit. Lurelians didn't walk like humans, didn't move like them. But she adapted. Slowly. As they passed checkpoints, he walked confidently, with authority. Most guards didn't even question him. It wasn't until they reached the outer hangar that the first warning klaxon rang. "They know," she said. He cursed. "They noticed your biometrics went offline too soon." They ran. Gunfire erupted from the catwalks. Aaron pulled her down behind a crate, breathing hard. She could hear his heartbeat, erratic, desperate. "I can't make the jump to the shuttle while they're firing," he muttered. "Then I will draw them away," she said softly, rising. But he grabbed her wrist. His hand, calloused and warm, surprising her. No one had touched her without fear before. "No," he said. "We go together." He took her hand in his, ignoring the flaring lights and sirens around them. Together they made the dash. Bullets slicing the air, alarms screaming, humans shouting. They made it to the shuttle. The engines roared. Then silence. Stars unfolded around them. 3 cycles later, they were in orbit around the rogue moon of Varela. Uncharted, atmospheric, invisible to Earth sensors. A forgotten rock surrounded by radiation clouds. Perfect hiding. Zalari had built a small dwelling using energy filaments drawn from the rock itself. It pulsed with soft light and shimmered like spun glass. Aaron stood near the edge, helmet off, breathing recycled air with a sigh. "They've labeled me a traitor," he said. "I'm sorry," she said. He looked at her, his expression unreadable. "I'm not." They didn't speak of war much. Or Earth. Or the Lurelian elegies she sometimes sang in the dark. But one day, as the twin suns of the nearby gas giant broke through the clouds, Aaron stumbled during a routine circuit of the perimeter. An old shrapnel wound had reopened. He collapsed just inside the glowing dome. Zalari knelt beside him. He winced, blood staining his uniform. "I'll patch it," he murmured. "Don't worry." But she was already moving. Her kind didn't heal like humans. They couldn't suture or seal wounds the same way.